And what is possibly the busiest day in all of sim racing, there now stands the tallest task of all of these drivers. After 24 hours, the Daytona has conducted itself. Now, round 5 of the SimGear GT Masters truly test the drivers who did race, who didn't race, and who can stand up on song for another hour and 10 minutes worth of racing action as we get set at the fabled Belgian Classic, a circuit that is pretty much brilliant on any sort of variation that you put to it. Welcome to the circuit of Spa-Francorchamps, home of amazing sim racing and on the road of the great cycling monument, Liège-Bastogne-Liège, as we get ourselves ready for action in qualifying here from your round 5 of the championship. As it stands, as we walk into today, there are 6 different championships on the offing at the moment, and no championship can truly say that it is a full-on runaway as it currently stands. But one thing we can say for certain as we start off our conversation is GT4 has been going in one direction ever since round 2 of the championship, and that has been as we go with GT4 first, then GT3 Am and GT3 Pro Am, and then finally GT3 Pro in the final 10 minutes. It is in the hands of the Hungarian Hunor Horsi, a 5K iRacing driver who in the VGTR car has been lightning fast and has been proving time and time again that it's his pace that has been unstoppable and unmatchable from Martin Yankov, who does now cede the championship lead outright by 8 points in GT4, 252, playing 244. Daniel Struchka, with his slew of second-place finishes, is in third on 230 points, just 22 points adrift, and that then follows with basically a battle of best of the rest. Kamto Chikure in fourth, Radlen Ivanov's consistency puts him in fifth, and Alex Stefanov in sixth. Those drivers on 188, 186, and 184 points. They're split by 4 points each, as Norbert Heyi is seventh, Dylan Stebler falls all the way down to eighth, with Dimitar Dimitrov ninth, and Kevin Aby rounding out the top 10, and already there are fans hoping for a Kevin Aby podium today around this Spa-Francorchamps circuit. Definitely not out of the possibility here, but a circuit that commands respect and even special privilege by the FIA. No circuit that gets FIA Grade 1 status is allowed to have more than 7 kilometers worth of track layout. This track has 7 kilometers and 4 extra meters in its layout version. So it does get special dispensation on that regard. And the other regard it gets dispensation on is the fact that it's got a very short run to turn number 1 out there on circuit. So in terms of that, it is going to be causing a little bit of confusion for some, but at least for this layout that we'll be running, they will be all looking at this and saying there is a good straight that will be jumping on forward. Let's hope he does indeed, as we are going to go on board, then up through the Lacombe chicane and over towards the left-hander on board with Alex Stefanov, then through Malmedy, up over the top of the crest, the highest point on this circuit. There used to be a behemoth back in the 1950s, 60s, and even into the early 70s before this layout was created, where you used to drive through all the various villages around here, this Belgian countryside, going through the tiny little village of Master, which opened up for the Master Kink as the most dangerous corner of its heyday. But right now, there is heyday corners of what makes a circuit so difficult, but this is where, out of double gauche, you head into the Fania chicane here from Alex Stefanov, the 90-degree right, into the 90-degree left, trying to pilot with authority that Porsche Clubman 718, then into the campus corner, named so after the campus of technology on the inside. Then you're through Stabilo, and this is where the old circuit connects with the new as you now start to make that drive back for home. And the fabled Blanchimont corner is going to be next on the charge. A little look there at what is some of the beautiful Ardennes countryside there as part of the Ardennes Triple, Liège-Bastogne-Liège. You also have in the same week La Flèche Wallonne, and on top of that, the challenge of the Mur d'Huy that goes on through. So you've got to make sure that all three of those races are going to be in play. Alex Stefanov over the line then and sets the benchmark time of a 2:28.1, and I believe it's de Ronde van Vlaanderen is what I am thinking then in the Ardennes. So let's continue on then with some more brilliant racing in this qualifier. Already damaged there on the front of, I believe, Camto Chikwere's car there, and that's going to be doing no favours on the run through the main corners. You can see that the front of the bonnet is turned up at the moment, and Camto, who doesn't have time to reset the car or can't reset the car, get a spare car out and go in qualifying, is going to be in a world of trouble with his efforts in the AMG Mercedes, seeing as he is damaged through that effort. Huno Horshi with two purple sectors in the back pocket, looking to try and get even more out of this one. And as he hits the line, he does a 2:27.6, which is a full half a second clear of Alex Stefanov out there. Martin Yankov only fourth at 1.1 seconds adrift, and 1 second adrift is Daniel Struchka, who can't quite unlock the power of the Mustang here at this stage. The 102 of Orlin Malinov making the drive now over to that final chicane. It's had many various guises over the years. This track used to be public circuit all the way until 2007, when they didn't run Formula Racing in 2008 and returned here in 2009. For racing action, as Orlin Malinov crosses the line on a 2:31.1, a little off the pace at 3.5 seconds. The difference maker that is there. So there's the 111 looking to make some progress, the damaged Camto Chikwere. So I'll be interested to see what the damage levels are going to be looking like here, and if it is going to be a very, very interesting, time to see. Is it going to be off by too much, or is it going to be a mile away? A little bit of slipstream is available for Dylan Stebler on the back of Kevin Aby. These will be their first representative times in the Maffei Racing team, and hoping that the lap is going to be lights out in terms of their effort there. That AMG Mercedes pulling along the Porsche then over towards the line. Stebler on a 28.5 goes third. Kevin Aby fifth on a 28.6, just 0.2 short of Struchka, and gets bumped down one by Martin Yankov, a 2:28.3, then good enough to be 0.7 off of the mercurial Huno Horshi, who's gone quicker in every sector. You've got the likes of Palazov going well, but the 112 right now is absolutely flying around this circuit, and we are currently in sim time, heading to 9 o'clock in the morning. So it's an early to rise start around this place, and now the drive for the line, it is enough to improve by a tenth, but gave up a lot in the final sector. Struchka goes third, on a 2:28.2, but Huno Horshi is proving that this is his playground, and everyone else just has to run by the rules as they go, as we wait for the final minute and a half left in qualifying. So most drivers now will be aiming for their last qualifying attempts before GT3 Pro and GT3 Am and GT3 Pro Am go out there and go for it. But the Huno Horshi show continues a wiggle from the 105. Then is going to be of not much use for Alexander Nikolov Jr., who looks like he's trying to warm some tyre up as he runs on through the corners, and really needs to get the hurry up message going here in the early stage, or in the late stages now, of this GT4 qualifying. Over the line, that one won't count, so This is the final attempts that we are seeing. Half a minute to go. Alex Stefanov will be interesting to see whether there'll be one more lap allowed in the back pocket or not, because he's green in 3 sectors, or 2 sectors out of 3, as is Kevin Aby. Stebler only good in the 3rd sector at this stage, but Alex Stefanov needs to find a full near 6/10 of a second to go up fastest. 5 seconds remaining in qualifying. It's going to be close to the line. It's a GP layout here today, and he will not make the line in time. That one won't count. And so Alex Stefanov stays in 2nd position overall to AB and to Stebler, who look to try and jump over to the line. Stebler being towed along with everything, jumps up to a 28.318, just can't beat out Martin Yankov. Kevin Aby, though, goes 5th. Norbert Haye in 7th, and 8th now for Kamto Chikure at 2.4 seconds behind with the damage to the front. So it's looking like it is as easy as pie for VGTR, who will have themselves the control. Hunohoshi with another purple 1st sector is lighting it up. But can Struchka find improvement after a green 1st sector? Norbert Haye as well, who is green through all 3. Horsey dives to the pits, absolutely comfortable that this is safe. Struchka is going to cross for it and does a 28 flat to make it a 1-2 for the team. What can Norbert Haye do to improve? Moves to a 2:28.8, improves on time, but not on position. So that will round out your qualifying in GT4 circles. Hunohoshi, for the 4th straight week, has complete control of the category here in round 5 of 7 of this as we move over to GT3 AM and GT3 Pro Am and what is going on in each of the standings there. Stanimir Borisov does still control GT3 AM, but the margin that he's got is 39 points at the top. It's the biggest championship margin out there, and Borisov will be looking around at Stanislav Naidenov on 199 as the nearest challenger, but the jumps up came from Lazar Katsarski and Valentin Stemenkov over the course of running. So Katsarski on 191, Lyubomir Plamanov in on 189 is tied on points with Nicholas Nikos then on that 49 points adrift. Avilo Dimitrov is 53 back, Valentin Stemenkov at 90 points adrift after the result. Then Alexander Nikolov Senior 91 points back. 9th is Jack Tolchard, who did not run last time out and looks like will continue to not run potentially here in this series. Just having a look through the order here, and it looks like I don't see him, so that will be a case of a non-run there. And Plamen Dimitrov on 93 points back, 145 as things go. In your GT3 Pro-Am Rally 3 standings, Rostikoshev is in control as we take a little replay here of what happens when you have a massive wiggle going through at Blanchimont. You've got to pretty much not steer as aggressive as that, and hard into the barriers, the rear getting completely knocked off the back of that lime green Porsche there. So that really will hurt in terms of finding a time, but critically can go back to the pit and get a new car from there to continue on with qualifying. But it is Rostikoshev in control of GT3 Pro-Am Rally 3 standings, ahead of Joris Ooms, who is 2nd, and then Yordanin Svetanov in 3rd. Ivan Boromechkov is 4th, ahead of Nikolai Mikov, just 17 points between Koshev and Ooms, with Svetanov then 49 points back, and Boromechkov at 56. Nikolai Mikov at 64 points back. Vladimir Mavrodiev is 6th on 177 points at 66 adrift. Then you got Arnie Weiss moving up to 75 points back on 168. Milan Milchev on 164 points, 79 points back. Rover Vaker's 9th on 163 at 80 points adrift. And then your top 10 is rounded out by Maxim Dimitrov, a drop of 7, then to 162 points at 81 points back, but could very easily jump back into the top 5 with a good result today in GT3 Pro-Am Rally 3. So that will line things up. These first times coming in, Boromechkov with a purple 2nd sector. You got a Yordanin Svetanov with a purple 3rd. Ture Molarin back for running here today. And we'll be hoping for some lightning fast times on the board. Boromechkov will be first, but we are on focus with the 40 here of Iordanin Svetanov now, who will make that launch over towards the line. And the answer on those first times, they are really quite telling. A 2:17.7 by Ivan Boromechkov leads Iordanin Svetanov to think, what a last sector by Ture Molarin, the Swede, with a 2:17.3. Then it goes fastest. The BMW of Joris Ooms, home soil for him, 2.8 seconds off the pace. That aside to lap, and Roy Viveka also on home soil will be on a 1.9 seconds slower lap, which is a 2:19.3. Only a 19.2 by Rostikoshev, as Valentin Stemenkov then goes fastest of the GT3 AMs, then with a very nice 2:18.7. So that will set up a lovely bit of battling heading over towards the next stage coming up, and going, right, I'm the nearest challenger. Who's going to be near me? Lyubimir Velkov is 2.2 seconds down the road. So that's a 9/10 advantage on that regard. And then you got Lazar Katsarski then, who is just a 1/10 of a second back of that as well. Stanimir Borisov, fourth at the moment in his category and trying to make something happen. Boromechkov again, purple in the middle sector, and looking to challenge here in the GT3 Pro-Am Honours. A slowdown for Stanislav Naidenov, which is not going to be helpful out there. But there's the 90 of Lyubimir Velkov up over the top of the crest then, and down through this Bruxelles corner. Very difficult on the inside front. Sometimes you get air over the front because it is such a steep descent down the hill through this corner. And then the edited section of this circuit over the last couple of years, it's allowed more motorcycle racing here at Spa, which frightens everything out of me, understanding that certain drivers are going to, or certain riders will have to go up Eau Rouge and Radion flat, and hoping that the bike stays on terra firma, which, quite honestly, if they can get air at Alton Park and Cadwell Park at Spa, that's troublesome. Boromechkov, fastest for only a split second, because Iordanin Svetanov, a 2:16.6, half a second quicker than any time he set in practice. He has just blitzed the timing screen up at the moment, and he'll know that there are great drivers trying to chase down. Arnie Weiss is third position, so Weiss doing a brilliant job with that qualifying effort then to just jump ahead of Ture Molarin by what is 6,000th of a second. Alexander Nikolov Sr. rolls back some years and goes fastest of the AMs right now as a spinner down then at the final corner. That is Valentin Stemenkov, who was looking to improve that lap. And that's not the first spin he's had, because he's gone off the road there. That's at Fania, and he would have grabbed so much gravel back across the circuit. Every driver now is going to be a little bit worried about what's been brought on through that sector to see whether that's going to be quicker. There is Stanislav Naidenov looking to improve Nikolai Mikov up to 8th position then with that effort. And so we're really seeing the moves being put on in, with now just 2 minutes to go and under here in qualifying for the AMs and the Pro-Ams. A lightning drive needed along this beautiful, beautiful Kemmel Straight, heading over to the right and the left then of Les Combes. We will go up the order into the middle sector by a fairly sizable margin to car number 47, and that is Arnie Weiss. Alexander Nikolov Sr. then moving the other way around out there as things go. And so now really needing time. There is the paddock.gg car of Ture Mollerine. Can't miss him in the white, as this will be a big, bold effort to get it done. Weiss was purple in the second sector. Mollerine was purple in the third. And Svetanov goes even quicker still on a 2:16.5. Mollerine to the line. A 16.4 goes fastest. But does Weiss respond? No, it's an off track. So that's big, but we'll have one more attempt to get this lap in. The tyres will be screaming. Maxime Dimitrov's just moved up third fastest. Ivo Serafimov then in the Carvex BMW, the Yekov Rally School car, then it goes up the order. Svetanov down in the pits. This is about who's going to get the last chance to go for it over the line, because I'm looking around. I think that you will just about see Robin Skelton get another go at it, but 3 seconds, 2, 1, and the line falls just before Lazar Kaczarski on a 2:18.8. So Lazar will be over the line last, and that will hit. So Velkov and Borisov also fine. Now finishes Nicholas Nikosh, then isn't going to be best pleased with time and effort, but Joris Ooms looking to jump up and do more. Rosti Koshev now in fourth, which is huge for the GT3 AM honours, but it really is starting to look like an aggressive field is needed. Alexander Nikolov, senior, then in control, and none of his main rivals in AM are out there at this stage. So I think he's got this sorted, but how high can he go over the course of this qualifying effort when Joris Ooms and co is looking around, trying to jump up? Oh, Ivilo! 11th hour Ivilo has just stolen the march and taken the AM pole, the GT3 AM pole. Mollerine is going quicker still in the middle sector, and now is really trying to say what he can do. Ivo Serafimov with an off track is not going to be able to make anything happen of it, but Ture is looking to set an absolute statement lap time down. He was 3/10 quicker than what he did in practice. He will jump into this final chicane, really takes the first curb nicely. Second one as well is pretty much on a dime, and over towards the line. It will be a 16-1. Oh, Ture Mollerine, what a time that is there. Koshev will look around and see that Joris Ooms has jumped up to 6th, but just not close enough to make challenge on that front. Viveka up to 8th place, but now the final drivers making their pushes. We've still got Mavrodiev to try and jump up the order. 2:18 flat does manage that. Koshev gets a 16.6 down, goes third quickest. Robin Skelton 17.1 will jump Boromechkov and put him just behind Joris Ooms, as now we get a little bit of a look at the last cars coming over. Stanislav Naidanov then on a 2:21, pulling it over to one side, because we are in pro spec now for this final run through, as Viveka will pull the car over to one side. So let's talk the overall championship, but let's start with the team's championship first and foremost, because that's the runaway for Negative Delta by iLiveries. That is the team of Johan Neshev and Velin Vitanov, who are clear on 377 by 94 over the Negative Delta KK squad. Then it is going to be Negative Delta by Madness, who are third, tied on points with Mark Speed, who are there alongside. Now, the second Mark Speed team is only 20 points behind, as that will be the team of Viveka and Ooms, as Off-Track Racing MV are in 6th position, only 123 points back, with then R&R Yekov Rally School 7th, Negative Delta by iPredictor in 8th place, Paddock.gg 9th, and SL Racing rounding out your top 10 in standings, 158 points. But get this, from 5th down to 9th, there is just 7 points difference in the team's championships. In GT3 Pro, Johan Neshev holds a slender 6-point lead at the top of the standings, ahead of Gabriel Ivanov, as third position is currently Velin Vitanov, 43 points back. It then follows on in lane with Ivailo Boychev in 4th position, Christian Novev 5th, Łukasz Szypła in 6th position ahead of Leon Kiermaier, with Chris Vrajilov, Ventsislav Rajchanov, and then, Kiermaier and Vrajilov tied on points on 149, then with Ventsislav Rajchanov 9th, and Nicholas Stanev then on 47 points, rounding out just the 10 in the category. So it's 84 points to Ivailo Boychev, it's 93 to Novev, Sipua at 97 back, Kiermaier and Vrajilov at 105, and Rajchanov already 150 points back in the championship, despite being near favourite on multiple occasions this season. But it does make changes the first times now. Start hitting the board right now from the likes of Chris Vrajilov. Yoann Neshev goes second, with Ventsislav Rajchanov in third, Kiermaier down in 9th with a first effort to go through, because Gabriel Ivanov still leads the drivers' general standings out there, or what we call overall, and does so by 29 points over Yoann Neshev. Rosti Koshev, the Pro-Am, is third, with Joris Ohms just behind by 9 points, then in 4th ahead of Velin Vitanov 5th, Ivailo Boychev in 6th, Chris Vrajilov 7th, and then it's Łukasz Szypła in 8th for Paddock.gg, Christian Novev 9th, and Stanimir Borisov, a GT3 AM driver, 10th overall in the standings. Shows you how you can't truly predict what the racing is going to do out there on track. A lot of drivers unable to set a time, like Paniot Karpachev, Krasin Stanchev, and Hristo Sarkazov, unable to put a lap time on the board. So for Novev, Ivanov, Vitanov, and Vrajilov, they are hoping they can find some more time out there to jump on up way through the orders. They won't start behind the GT4s by the way that multi-class qualifying is going to make itself told. But at least for the moment, Ture Mollerin has the control, but for how much longer when the tyres get themselves up to the temperature that they need. That's the key at the moment as we run through here the wonderful lefts and rights with Leon Kiermaier of Fania, and over to Campus Corner with the short shoot run here on through, tipping to just 120 kilometers an hour before jumping back on the power. And we will soon see here, as we're already down to 4.5 minutes in qualifying, the times that will start ratcheting up on the board. Who is going to find the improvements necessary? Boychev is green in 3 sectors. You got 2 sectors green for Vitanov, for Neshev, for Vrajilov. If Yoann Neshev's done enough, this could be pole position at this moment in time. Ventsislav Rajchanov will be interesting to see as well. And Ivailo Boychev with a purple last sector, beaten by the likes then of Yoann Neshev. But Ivailo Boychev is clear by 9 thousandths of a second at the top. Your top 4 split by a 10th. Rajchanov in 4th, Velin Vitanov then is 3rd at the moment. Łukasz Szypła, then the pole, looking to try and get closer to pole with an effort then to try and drive up on a 17 flat, is 1.2 seconds off the pace currently. Gabriel Ivanov only 5th at about a quarter of a second away. Then you've got Leon Kiermaier in 6th position. Mollerin demoted down to 7th. Szypła couldn't find anything in the final couple sectors. That might have been a cool lap to go for another fast lap out there, as a couple of corners didn't quite match what the eye desired. So, the focus now turns its attention to Venti, and Ventsislav Rajchanov knows that if he wants anything out of this season, he is going to have to get a result. But everyone's picking toe on everyone else, and they need results. We haven't seen a legitimate time in from Chris Vrajilov. He is under the cosh once again, and his pace has been a little bit troublesome with the way that this has gone for him this season. There might be a threat of him moving down to GT3 Pro-Am if he's not careful here, so he really needs a good, strong qualifying, does Chris Vrajilov, and a really good result here to really stamp his name down with authority. Yoann Neshev, the only driver really improving. Ivailo Boychev can't improve in sectors 2 and 3, but Neshev, a green sector Sector 1, a green Sector 3, a purple Sector 2 for the 5, the leader of the GT3 Pro standings. Right at the moment, he wants to make a statement with this as he will now jam on the brakes behind Ivaylo Boychev, the pure grunt of the Ford Mustang, making itself known as the drives come again towards that line. They will have one more attempt to go, but Johan Neshev's 15.3 is good enough to be topped by a 10th. Raichanov to second. Ivaylo Boychev is suddenly nearly half a second behind. Velim Vitanov is half a second behind, and Gabriel Ivanov is 6/10 of a second away, and now pretty much down in the pits, so will not be able to improve on qualifying effort. This is big out there in this, and Sipua will come to the line. Will just about get one more attempt to go and make something happen here, but will be the last car to keep focus on in the number 6, a 16.2. That's a little bit better. 8th place, right behind Ture Molarin. And so now with Christian Novev 9th and Chris Vrajlov only 16th. 16th, that's going to be a little bit troublesome then, as checkered flag now flies here around the circuit to Spa-Francorchamps. So final attempts, Vrajlov, Boychev, Neshev, all green in the first sector. They don't want to start tripping up over each other as they head through the middle sector, through the speaker's corner, and over to Double Gauche then, the double-handled left here that used to be called Puhon Corner. And as you try and get the drive through the middle, you are desperately trying to get as much power out through the middle. Vrajlov's green, but all the drivers around are yellow, and that's pretty huge because they're stuck and bottled up behind a car that needs to go out there and put a time. That Porsche needs every little bit, every inch out there, and they can't go and make an overtake on someone else's flying lap, because if they're not careful, they could be seen as impeding if they are going about it. Again, Neshev yellow, but Raichanov back there's got a green third sector and might be finding something late. Vrajlov's definitely improving here on this lap, and he can't afford to be pushed through any corner because the 0x invalidates the lap time. So now you're going to have to move about. You're going to have to work a way into the corner. This is going to be scary. Do not make contact as you go through this final chicane. They tripped up over each other and haven't given each other enough room as they've come to the line. Chris Vrajlov will cross, and will cross on a 17. And so Vrajlov will not find a time that will work, because I think he got a bump. Vitanov up to third and then did enough, but Novev is someone who could upset the order right now, which is Johan Neshev's here, and he does, because he goes up to P5 with that effort, which is just 8,000 short of Ivaylo Boychev, a 2:15.7, and now it sits on Sipua to go and say a 2:16.2 can be improved on. He's 9/10 off the pace, but this lap time is fully off the pace, and diving into that one-line suits all pit lane here for the stop that is upcoming. So qualifying in the books, and your championship leader in GT3 Pro proving that that was a must-make qualifying, and Johan Neshev is in control with a 2:15.332. So let's get confirmation then, as the session will tick over with 35 seconds remaining before the gridding process then is going to set its stall for racing action here today at the circuit de Spa-Francorchamps. It will be with a wonderful lap time to set on the agenda. Johan Neshev on that pole, that 2:15.332, making all of the difference then in this qualifying, as alongside him will be Venceslav Raichanov, who will be gagging for a finish here today. Velim Vitanov will line up in third with Ivaylo Boychev alongside on row 2, as Christian Novev will go from 5th and Gabriel Ivanov then in 6th place. Leon Kiermaier will start this one in 7th, with your leading GT3 Pro Am being Ture Molarin in 8th place. Łukasz Szypła will start 9th with a Jordan Insvetanov in 10th. Rusty Koshev has had all the finishes, and so third in the overall championship. 11th is the start for him, with Arnie Weiss company on row number 6, as it'll be Maxim Dimitrov 13th and Joris Ohms in 14th position. Roban Skelton will have Chris Radulov, who is there as a pro, down in 16th. Really struggled for pace there in the KK squad car in qualifying, as in 17th it would be Ivan Boromechkov, and then Roy Viveka there in 18th. Ivo Serafimov and Nikolai Mikov then make your top 20, as Vladimir Mavrodiev will have a Vilo Dimitrov there for company, your leader of all those in AM, making qualifying times. Alexander Nikolov Sr. there second overall there in 23rd, with Valentin Stemenkov in the Sofia Car Motorsport machine there 24th. You then got Lazar Katsarski and Lyubomir Velkov, with Nicholas Nikosh and also Stanimir Borisov, your GT3 AM Championship leader, a little bit off the pace today at 5 seconds adrift. Milan Milchev will then follow Stanislav Naidanov, with Paniot Karpachev unable to set a time due to penalty, along with Hristo Sarkazov. Huno Horshi in complete control of the GT4s, as we have seen so often this season, a Hungarian row with Daniel Struchka alongside Alex Stefanov and Martin Yankov, making the challenge back against VGTR for ST Sim Racing. You've then got Dylan Stebler and Kevin Abe for Maffei Racing, making it 3 teams in the top 3, or in the top 6, I should say, as you then got Radlin Ivanov and Norbert Hey in 7th and 8th. In 41st on the grid, it's Alexander Nikolov Jr. with Kamto Chikure having to deal with damage for the entirety of qualifying. All in Malinov and Dimitar Dimitrov then are 43rd and 44th, which leaves the last qualifier, Dimitar Palauzov, and then Krastin Stanchev having to start the off-track racing DK car from 46th position down at the back of the grid. Now, in terms of where they line themselves up, then for today's racing, they are already getting themselves up to speed, and they will be setting themselves up through the rear of this circuit here, and that will be lining up on this back run. So it used to be that you lined up around the curve of Paul Frere, named after the Belgian driver that raced in the 1960s and even got podiums out there in Formula 1. But they now have a little bit more time to get the tyres up to temperature through Stavelot Corner. And if you do ever find yourself in Stavelot, there is a wonderful monument on the outskirts of Stavelot to the south of the cannibal Eddie Merckx, the legendary cyclist, and only has maybe one matcher in modern day comparison, and that, of course, the Slovenian Tadej Pogačar. So that will certainly set for what these drivers want to achieve, seeing some of the great cycling greats that come around from this area or race in this area right now. But they are all now understanding this is a pivotal race. With 3 races to go in the season, points are going to be at a premium. And if you do not deliver tonight, you will not have the chance to deliver potentially at the end of this season, when they've got Daytona and Interlagos 2 and 3 weeks away. Let's get ourselves ready then as the pace car dives on in. It is Johan Neshev who holds the GT3 field as we get ourselves set for round 5 of the SIMGEAR GT Masters. The green flag drops and we are underway for racing action. Here is the charge already from Velin Vitanov, 3 wide behind as he lifts early into the Lassour's hairpin. It's slightly on camber as they go 4, even 5 wide through the middle of the corner, trying to get the drive on in, and a lot of drivers just about skirting their way through in GT3 spec as they run up the hill and look to get that clearance. 2 wide, it will be up through this section as a tag, and it's Gabriel Ivanov, championship leader overall, who's gone all shades of sideways. Everyone now is going to have to try and avoid it. It's going to be a huge pile-up over the top of the Kemmel Straight, and surely one that will need a safety car or some intervention here, as the GT4s will soon line up onto the scene here. A massive accident then to start this race, and one that we I would say, horribly feared. And it continues up at Lecum, Turin Mollerin, back in GT4s. There's been a number of spinners out there, and one of them is Kevin Aby, who's pointed the wrong way. I think Alex Stefanov was the one who got turned around. Norbert Hey also was in the gravel. A dramatic start to this race, and drivers damaged beyond repair then as Spa rears its head on the opening lap, as it has done on so many occasions before. There is a reason why it is the most common, deadliest corner in modern motorsport, that section of Eau Rouge and Raidillon. No matter what they've done to it, it creates drama, and the field now absolutely torn apart at the moment. 3 clear at the front. Johan Neshev, Velin Vitanov, and Venceslav Raichanov is where this field stands. Leon Kiermaier up to 4th, and Arnie Weiss in 5th. In GT4, Huno Horshi has got the clearance sorted ahead of Daniel Struchka and Martin Yankov, the 3 musketeers at the front of GT4. Dylan Stebler is 4th on an island on his own. We got a bit of 3 wide as Kamto Chikure gets by Orlin Malinov here, and then has the inside on Krastin Stanchev, who made huge gains there off the start of the race, but ultimately they are now trying to find a way back. Valentin Stemenkov, oi! There goes one. Sliding in the back, Kevin Aby having a horror show. Disqualified from the race is Łukasz Sipua. Vilo Boychev had to take a tow with the black and orange mechanical flag. A lap score complete then here in this race. But look at the front there of that car of Gabriel Ivanov. It is bent in, 10th place at the moment, and now will be needing a lot of work to nurse back home in this race. This is damage limitation now as he sits on the front of Maxim Dimitrov. You then got Ivan Boromechkov, Vladimir Mavrodiev and co. They are all there trying to get in. Jordan Svetinov with a slow down penalty to get things sorted, and so too Ivilo Dimitrov. Lyudmir Velkov now leader of GT3 AM. Arnie Weiss is 5th and leads your GT3 Pro-Am division ahead of Koshev and Erms. What a start he's had to this race. A gain of 7. Chris Vrajilov up 10 then on the start of this race. And Alexander Nikolov Sr. in the pits then after the opening lap, limping the car around as they go. A lot of battles to keep in mind, but it's your leaders right now and the team 1 and 2 here for Negative Delta. This is why they are top. It's Mustang and Mercedes at the front, and then sitting back there in that 3rd place, Venceslav Raichanov trying to stay in play. There is Radlen Ivanov, who is looking to try and bring himself into play. 118 is the number there in 5th, but you've got Chikure, Stanchev, Malinov, Stefanov, Nikolov, Aby, and Palauzov all there in the group, and they are all thinking about what do I need to do in the early stages of this one. Oi! Teammates almost come together at the final chicane as Velin Vitanov has a little cheeky look down the inside of his teammate Johan Neshev and does not quite get what is needed there in that moment. Down through the opening corner, they'll have traffic on the exit of a lap down Christian Novev to go by and around and say, look, we got to go and make this progress. We got to jump away. Immediately in GT4, Huno Horshi is clear by a second. Jordan Svetinov down in pit lane. Remember, they've got to make 2 stops here, so they will also be eyeing up the rules and regulations of today's running. There are no fast repairs. If you damage the car early, it is going to be game over. Then here in this one. And there's the side-by-side as through on Arnie Weiss goes Chris Vrajilov for position. That will change things in fifth, and Maxim Dimitrov blinking about like nobody's business is going to cause huge amounts of trouble for the likes of Boromechkov with a slowdown penalty behind him at the moment, and it is a very big group that's starting to form behind Boromechkov here as he takes the slowdown. So through goes Vladimir Mavrodiev. He's trying to tactically serve this one here, as also Ivailo Dimitrov and Krastin Stanchev have it. Well served, actually, by Boromechkov. He's held the group enough to get the clearance. It has now brought Robin Skelton side by side, little lean. Gabriel Ivanov, who is damaged and falling back through this group, now can't hold the same pace because he's got to get optionals. He can carry the corner speed a lot better than everyone else, but he is limping in that Aston Martin, which is damaged on the front right, and so he can't carry the same top-end speed, which is where these cars like Serafimov and Karpachev will want to try and get by. Gabriel Ivanov is in a world of hurt. He'll lunge the inside of Robin Skelton and gain the move back, but this is the last place he wanted to be, and he is going to need a lot of help out there to hold his overall championship lead, and he was already seeding away after last time out at Mount Panorama, the lead in the championship in GT3 Pro as it currently goes for it. So stand up, find yourself, be counted at this stage of the race, and hope your result is going to be in play. GT4 now getting close. Struchka under pressure here. Martin Yankov is going to want to get to second. Now, Yankov hasn't been able to make a pass on a VGTR car all season long, and he still can't there into the right-hand bend then of Fania, and he is going to keep everything he can as he now tries to hold himself steady, and with Raichanov completely out of the drama at the front, and some would say thank goodness for that, he now needs to just get his head down in that third position and really work through for what he's got. With Velin Vitanov and Johan Neshev, they're in trouble. Change for the lead in GT3 GT3 Pro-Am as Arnie Weiss loses out to Rosti Koshev. Then on position, Weiss looking for a way back, but back then we go to this incredible scrap with Yankov and Struchka. Struchka has got the legs on it this time by Stanchev here in a whole heap of battle with Alex Stefanov and Orlin Malinov, and it's clear that Alex Stefanov's got more pace because he will try and figure it to the outside. Stanchev got himself in a world of trouble last week for his actions over at Mount Panorama. He was really struggling, but at a more open circuit like Spa, he's definitely finding it a lot easier out there at this point. Now this brings Malinov in the Mustang, as this will be tough for the Porsche clubman to go make that move. Ooh, that was close through the opening corner, and again there's troubles there. Arnie Weiss stuck behind then in terms of this one, and trying to navigate on through, and now trying to slip away through all of this. Valentin Stemenkov, and this is technically for position, but it won't be, it will only affect overall. Oh, speak of the devil, Raichanov's got a slowdown penalty here, and that was coming up through towards the final chicane. So that will really hurt because he'll lose a second and a half then, and Leon Kiermaier will have a chance to start hunting back the gap as that all goes. There is Paniot Karpachev, who is sat there in the number 39. 15th place through on Robin Skelton, who's dropped back down the group a little bit. Oh! Alex Stefanov, 1-2-1 at the top of the hill, then struggling about through Malmedy Corner, and I wonder whether that has been contact for Alex that he really did not want to be getting into there with the cars around. We'll go back towards the start of this race when they were lining through the corners. Is this where we saw the trouble for the number 89, then looking to try and run through? There was a stack up going through, bang, into the cars in front, and that's what caused the chain reaction. And I wonder whether there was passing before the yellow that caused troubles then for Sipawa, or whether that was just a pure disqualification then that took its effect in the early goings of this one. There's the 88 car that got caught up in the midst of that of Stanislav Naidanov. Oh, got the big smack up from behind from the 82. And then there is Christian Novev. So had already had the issues across the circuit, but then it funnels into, at best, too wide. There's nowhere to go. It feels like a street circuit, the Kemmel Straight, and everyone is just scattering to try and avoid contact. Bang! Everywhere you go, there is trouble, and there's that number 12 again, going backwards and tagging the 6 of Sipua, who had nowhere to go. There's the 43 getting into the wall there, the Rivo car that was having no love for it. Then as it ran on through, all cars in trouble include Sipua, Boychev, Molorin, Nikolov, Novev, and Svetinov, then on that run that sorted it forward. But there is the issue of a car going backwards, trying to stay out of trouble, and then effectively was unable to get itself turned around there. So big hits pretty much everywhere. And this is why, because he had to go forward. Now, this is what happened at turn 1. Then, which caused the trouble on the brakes. Alex Stefanov would have had one down his inside, trying to steal the corner then, in the form of Dylan Stebler. Then Kevin Abe's a bystander on the outside. Hayes stuck then to the outside as well. And that's how quickly a chain reaction happens at La Source. You don't want to be stuck wrong place, wrong time, wrong part of the circuit. And so how very quickly it goes wrong. A look from Radlen Ivanov's perspective, then in the very bright green GT4 BMW, as round the outside tried to go, one car there, and you just have to wait for the checkup, and then everyone is going to jump down through here on this replay to go on through. So that's all what happened on the start of this race. This is what happened with, I believe, Stanchev then into the corner. Oh, 107 needs to find the brakes there, and that really hurts. That's Dimitar Palauzov even there who has that troubles. And then again, another spin for the number 12, dealing with the damage. And really a tough day at the office for Christian Novev, who eventually parks the car. Now, this is car number 47, who has now dropped down the order, and it's Arnie Weiss. He's just had a spin at Speaker's Corner a lap ago, and now he is way down the order on it. There are so many replays of drivers running into troubles. Is this going to be car 38 who finds the barriers at the very loaded Radion corner? And it will be. It's Milen Milchev who has found that massive shunt into the barriers and will have to be careful of it. Gravel being kicked up everywhere then around this circuit, and one of the few circuits that did go gravelless in various sections of the track, but has actually moved back to more gravel to make it more of a challenge around here, instead of one of these Tilke-style circuits where you just don't get a punishment for running off the side of the road. That's how tough that some of this racing has been. But Ivo Serafimov now, middle of this group. Car in front is damaged, so you are looking at trying to pick up the place then through the various elements that come along then in this group. And we are about to hit the lap traffic sequence. Oh, hey! There we go. Huge accident. 1, 2, 3. Serafimov's caught up. Boromechkov, I think, was in there. And Roman Skelton, Vladimir Mavrodiev, I think, was the driver who ended up in the wrong place at the wrong time. A massive scrap up then as it goes through here at this. Oh, it's 3 different incidents into one. Boromechkov on his own, and then you got Roman Skelton trying to avoid it all, and then Serafimov has caught the back there of Vladimir Mavrodiev, and that, I think drivers are very tired after the action that we had, of course, at Daytona, where there were over 100 splits worth of racing action. And everyone, I think, is just about at the end of their tether here on this racing here from this circuit to Spa-Francorchamps. It's a tough circuit at the best of times. It might be one of the more predictable ones, but it's certainly been massive. Neshev clear now by 1.3 seconds over Velin Vitanov. So now we focus to the likes of of Daniel Struchka for a moment. Back to Paniot Karpachev. This for the top 10 here against Maxim Dimitrov. The rear of that GT3R 911-992 has been pushed in, and Karpachev then is going to go sailing around the outside and is going to get the clearance. But I tell you who's not getting clearance right now, your race leader, Johan Neshev, because he got stuck behind Kevin Aby and also the All-in Malinov car. And so that's made a difference. Alex Stefanov trying to get by the 104 for position as they are weaving across the circuit here. A little dangerous between Stefanov and Stanchev here as Dimitar Palauzov will soon see Chris Vrajlov in the mirrors. Now you're going to try and lunge him at Blanchimont. Brave, not the way I'd do it, but ultimately lights flashing saying, where are you going, what are you doing, come on, I'm quicker, let me go, and not getting any of that then in the back pocket as this goes, as those drivers now will have to see, moving to the left-hand side, Chris Vrajlov comfortably moving by and comfortably dealing with position out there. Whee! That's too deep from Krastin Stanchev. He overcooked himself there into last source, and everybody goes by now, including Dimitar Palauzov. So Stanchev missed breaking point. All the trouble in the world. Here's Naidenov looking for everything as in comes Roy Viveka then to make a stop. Is this then? So Roy is going to be early into the pits, and I wonder whether then for the Mark Speed car with the damage to the front right of Roy's car, that he wants a little bit of damage repair if he possibly can, that can keep him in this race. And that, of course, is optional repairs. That'll be there as now. Here we go. Malinov and Aby going at it here. Negative delta on the inside. Maffei Racing on the outside. Aby looking to sweep around in the Mercedes to get the launch forward, to get the pass done as Ivaylo Dimitrov then is going to get a slowdown penalty. Move made, but there is that short shoot run over towards Puhon Corner, or Double Ghost as it's now known. Aby on the outside is going to get pushed out wide then by All-in Malinov. Aby will take a slowdown, will flash the lights, and will rightfully be angry because he'll feel he had the corner there as the three of Chris Vrajlov then moves on through and starts to split up this group. Martin Yankov needing a bit of help to get by Daniel Struchka here. The BMW maybe not as good. That looks very bad there for Ivaylo Dimitrov. He is missing the entire front clip there of that Porsche 911 there, and it's almost like seeing Toothless from DreamWorks House Train Your Dragon there. Hey, it's me, as he now looks to go on and get anything more out of this one here from 16th, dealing with the missing front clip, which will certainly be helping cooling, but definitely not helping turning out there at the moment. Ivo Serafimov now down in the pit lane as well. And so a number of pitters looking to make their claims at this stage. There's Kamto Chikure now, who has been driving brilliantly in the RTA Virtual Series, the Scholar Series out there. It's been doing a great job, but now we'll be hoping that he can get by Radlin Ivanov, and this would be for 5th place in GT4 as we near to 20 minutes on the clock here around this circuit, the Spa-Francorchamps, and these 20 minutes have felt like 20 hours. By the way, there has been so many incidents here. Everyone has just been trying to avoid what's been going on then at the start of this race. And at the front, it's 4:10. So Chikure now looking to make that move. He's going to lift off of it compared to Radlin Ivanov. But as the car goes wide in front, I'd look to our leaders, if at all possible, Director, because that gap is 0.4 of a second. It's the closest battle, or one of the closest battles we got on track, and it's right in front of Struchka now and Yankov for those places. So Velin Vitanov is trying to keep his teammate Johan Neshev quite honest. We'll go back though to Hristo Sarkazov now and Lyubimir Velkov, because this is for GT3 AM Honours, and the Sparks 82 of Hristo Sarkazov has now found a way up to make that move, having started 32nd on the grid. Hristo Sarkazov is up an astonishing 19 places, now into 12th. So a huge move from the BMW that gets it by the Porsche, the Bumway, if you want to call it by German naming letters at this point, and doing everything beautifully. Velin Vitanov now is eyeing that lead. They will have to clear Hunor Horshi for position as they work through, and that's not a great run by Johan Neshev, but because Horshi is leaning into the corner, and he's got so much grip through there where there is just none by going around the outside by Velin. That's all it takes for almost contact to be made, and Hunor has dealt with that nicely, but Velin Vitanov is really eyeing up a race lead move to try and get that away from Johan Neshev. Vitanov has not won yet this season, but he will look at Johan Neshev, who has won on 2 occasions. He took the opener at Suzuka, he took the win last time out, then at the Mount Panorama circuit, and there's a look, a live look, at what we believe instant point counts look like at this stage of the race. The top 4 clean as a whistle, and then everybody else stacking up, including Gabriel Ivanov, who seemingly found some good pace now and is up into 7th position. He has just settled down into form and rhythm, and now will be looking to eye up a chance, especially as Koshev, who is about 9 seconds in front, has just been given a slowdown penalty that will have to be served. There is some side-by-side as Struchka, I think, just lost the place. Has he? Yes, he has. So the Martin Yankov, the reigning champion, on a must-make move, has found his pass and has worked his magic to go and get that sorted. He will now only have Hunor Horshi to chase. Oh no! There goes the turnaround of Struchka, who's going backwards down the hill, needs to find the moto layout, and does. He has to do a full J-turn to get that around. Great car control to make it work, but the back just stepped out on the exit. And did he keep out the barriers? Oh my goodness, he did. And so that was a wonderful bit of car control from Daniel Struchka, who doesn't often make mistakes, but he is still learning out there to get quicker and quicker in GT4. He'll fall behind Dylan Stebler, who will now move up onto the podium here in GT4. A look at your biggest gainers. Paniot Karpachev up 21. Hristo Sarkazov is up 20 here in this run. A whole slew of drivers up double digits in GT4, and there's Leon Kiermaier up 3 there in 4th position, and really on an island on his own. So too now you can say for Venceslav Raichanov, who is 3 seconds off the back of Velin Vitanov and Johan Neshev. Those two have to figure it out between them. Very similar to what we saw from the Williams F1 gaming team earlier on in the 24 hours of Daytona. Who wants to win this one? Because they still have 2 stops to try and uncover what they need. The damaged car of Gabriel Ivanov then up to 7th and will effectively be 6th in class at the moment and won't be scoring that many big points by comparison. Will go down the inside of Martin Yankov, but here's the big but. 6.2 seconds to Rosti Koshev. That is going to be a tough 20-30 minutes it will take for Gabriel to chase that gap down. There's Arnie Weiss in 10th, who has had to deal with a slowdown to fall back down the order. Has Paniot Karpachev in front, and also Joris Ooms, his Mark Speed teammate then in the BMW. So there's definitely an eye up on where that's going to go for placement and for passing. He's got a good run here as Arnie to try and get that move. Chikure with a slowdown. Oh, he was trying to dazzle with the lights as well. Up into Lake Coon, the right, left, right. If you go straight on, you take the old circuit layout, which is about 13 kilometers out there. Sarkazov with a slowdown now. And this could be Lyubimir Velkov through, as Yankov has to leave the room for all of these drivers to go on by. Lyubimir, I want to focus on for a moment, because he seemingly can't get the launch down the inside that he wants, and there's almost an issue there of contact for some trying to work on through. It is slow down central here at Spa, and remember, incident points have been relaxed here over the years rather than strengthened, but it's still one of the highest accruing incident point circuits that you find in iRacing. It is a nightmarishly difficult circuit to keep between the lines, and even the best drivers struggle to out there. There was a time where there were no limits on 24-hour races, and drivers like Maximilian Benneker and co would all have to jump into a Skip Barber race then for the next week to get their safety ratings up, because they'd abused the instant point systems back again and again and again. Lyubimir Velkov fighting hard, and now look at Karpachev. Karpachev is unleashed here in this race. He will now attack to the outside of Joris Urms, and he can't quite get it done. His Mustang is flying out there at this point. Paniot wants that move, but Joris Urms, who is on home soil, is saying, no, I am just as much of a contender for this one, as in comes Martin Yankov, then to make his first stop. Nose to tail they go through the opening corners, but Martin Yankov making the call. Stanimir Borisov with damage now has got that repaired. Stebler is in. Chakure is in at 26 minutes into this race here at Spa. Alexander Nikolov with a black flag. Oh, and that's Nikolov Jr. who has picked that up, and so that might be for not serving a slowdown penalty. Well, this is going to make a little bit of a difficulty for the field outright in this race, as we go up again to Paniot, who can't get the move done at Bruchel and has to stay behind Joris Urms for the placement at this stage. Johan Neshev holding that gap at about 0.2 of a second, and doing a wonderful job at that as well. Into the pits comes Stanislav Naidenov, then for the first stop of the day for the number 88. And so that is going to set itself up quite nicely as they run through. Now around the outside. Oh, this is brilliant if Paniot can do this. Round the outside, inside. He'll have the outside for the next two right-handers, though. Joris Urms is kicking his nose in. What a pass, Paniot. That is a sensational move around the outside of the Fanya chicane. You don't often see it. Leaders, though, are in. Neshev, Vitanov, Raichanov. They've gone as far as the fuel will allow them. But what a pass. This is Bodomechko. Oh, no, Ivan's had a huge accident over the top. Spins it over that section and has actually done very well to keep it away from everyone else. Has he kept it out the barriers? I don't think he has. Oh, and he has just backed it in there. And that is going to be really hurtful. And now Stanislav Naidenov, slow-mo, leaving the pits. Does he spin it then, trying to get the power down and going through this right-hander? Oh, no, he just completely misses the corner and just has to scrape against the wall there. Very difficult. Oh, I looked around at that, and Johan Neshev had to have a double take before leaving the pits. So I think he's... Oh, no, they spun it! Oh my goodness, Johan Neshev has spun on pit exit, and that's going to bring everybody through. Is that going to be a safe pit exit for Venceslav Raichanov as he gets back up to speed? Johan, oh my word! When does that happen for Johan Neshev? Velin Vitanov could only watch as his teammate spun around, no contact between them, but cold tyres out of the pit. I'm stunned. I am absolutely stunned. Johan Neshev spins it from the race lead. Velin Vitanov now leads here at this circuit. A very hyperspace angle there. Let's change that one as we go through. Johan Neshev now back to third net overall as we wait for Joris Urms and Arnie Weiss to make their stops. This is the onboard from Velin Vitanov here, who looks around then through the opening corner here of La Source and looks and sees, well, where do I go? I've just got to stand on the brakes and find a way to get by. So that will compromise all those drivers who came in and made their pit stop and keep themselves in play. Now, Weiss is down the inside of his teammate Joris Urms, so twice in 2 laps. There is that change as the rest of the GT4s are in. Nikolov, Dimitrov, Palauzov, Stanchev, Alex Stefanov and Olin Malinov now on pit exit make their clearances. And just as we say that, Hunor Horshi is in a scrap and Neshev's got a black flag. Johan Neshev has a black flag and that is massive. out there. Where has that gone wrong for Johan Neshev? He will have to come back down into pit lane and serve an extra run through, and Gabriel Ivanov's blushes on the opening lap may have just been spared in this race. Oh, goodness. That's a difference maker. Now, here come the Mark Speed cars in at half an hour, going longer than anybody else out there on this run, which should give Velin Vitanov now the race lead back to tackle with Venslav Raichanov. And on a day where Velin Vitanov is fighting for the overall standings at almost a full race back, this is the give me that he wants to try and keep himself back in. So Johan Neshev, with the penalty, will take a full drive through the pits to get back into position. Leon Kiermaier will now go to third. Gabriel Ivanov now up to fourth. And now here comes a look then to the inside of Vrajolov on Rosti Koshev. And Koshev overcooks the corner. He is a man with the most beautifully ravishing long hair you can ever imagine, Rosti Koshev, and he's got the move done, and he's got it sorted. Now into the lane is Daniel Struchka, and again, Hunor Horshi here is behind Martin Yankov here. So at least for now, Horshi's strategy, I don't think has quite paid off. In terms of his first pit stop, he's probably gone for tyres where Martin Yankov hasn't. Vrajolov's got the clearance here, and they'll fight again. And now Paniot Karpachev will fight with Arnie Weiss, who's just come out of the pits. He'll be on cold tyres here, trying to get them up to speed as Struchka pits. Yankov leads in GT4, but now here comes the dive down the inside. Weiss holding that big long line, and he can't get a clearance. Karpachev is on an absolute tear of overtakes, but he'll have to get by Joris Ohms again, who's jumped there in the stops. Alex Stefanov, a look behind there. That's Norbert Heyi, who is then trying to work a damaged Porsche back into shape then at this stage. But Raichanov, actually give him some credit here. He's at 0.2 of a second and has a shot of battling for this race win as we head to the second half of this race. Kiermaier third and Gabriel Ivanov now up in fourth. We go to Joris Ohms in ninth. The battle on. He's just lost the place to Paniot Karpachev, who will now have to try and hunt the 10-second gap to Rosti Koshev if he wants honours in GT3 Pro-Am. Koshev having another typically out of trouble day by his standards and driving away with GT3 Pro-Am. There's Lazar Katsarski then, who will be scrambling to get back into the pits. All in Malinov now in a scrap at the moment with the likes then of Hunor Horshi still fighting for the lead overall in GT4. So Malinov now on the back of Norbert Heyi and Alex Stefanov. Stefanov now just driving into the distance here with a little bit of clean air. He's going to be looking around and hoping that passes could be on the horizon with what is being planned here for the second half of this running. So at least right now, all in Malinov wants the move, but I would say that he's struggling to get that speed through the middle of the corners that is going to allow for the exits to be a bit better. Koshev, though, gets a really good run in the Yekov Rally School R&R car. Now, he couldn't go to the inside. He's going to feign it back to the outside to try and make that move. That is Schumacher-like on Mika Hakkinen from Chris Vrajolov. Exactly the same way. Move as late as you dare through that section, and that almost could have ended in the end of Koshev and Vrajolov in their battles. Now they've got Johan Neshev for company behind, and this becomes a really big scrap. And look, lights flashing from Neshev. He thinks they're lap traffic, or he's going to go to every trick in the book to try and get the pass. As that's happening, Norbert Heyi is going to be in a scrap. Here and there, Horshi is really harrying the back of Martin Yankov in GT4. Business picked up here at a crazy Spa at this moment, and no one, I mean nobody, wants to relax here in this race. Up the Kemmel, over to Les Combes, and Hunor Horshi is not close enough to make that move. He's deeper on the brakes, but Martin Yankov is blocking every single corner up. Right now, it's like trying to play whack-a-mole against a driver of who knows caliber and quality, but you might need a pick like Nikolai Mikov, and covers again on the inside, running through Bruchel's corner. And so once more, you're starting to think, well, I need more out of this one. Neshev's going to look for the clearance and the move, and so too will Huno Horshi. He's about to go side by side. Neshev down the inside, up to 6th. Huno Horshi makes the pass, takes the lead over Martin Yankov, who's trying to desperately regain it back. Ivo Serafimov with a slowdown penalty now as well. Yankov really needs to get this clear and just can't. And give credit here to Nikolai Mikov. He's just allowing these drivers to race, waiting for a clear space of the circuit to get the clearance around. It's not often you get held up that much as a Porsche out there, and will now just have to wait for the drive out of Stavilo to get by these drivers. What a sensational scrap it was, but Horshi now is proving that the life of his tyres is a bit better as he looks to try and extend away. But when you run slightly wide there, you're going to give the chance back in to close. And Palauzov now with the black and orange mechanical flag. Dimitar Palauzov has had a massive smash up of his car, and so he will be limping it home, and the damage on the rear left suspension. So not much more can be said about Palauzov's day. He's going to have to bring it home. Raichanov, though, by comparison, is going to have to do everything. I've just seen Christian Novev off the road trying to let everybody go by at this stage, but lead battle is going to be huge. There's Palauzov limping, and I wonder whether it was him and Christian Novev who come together, because look at Novev's front tyre. They're absolutely caved in. I think Novev's run straight up the back there of Dimitar Palauzov and has put both of them out of the race here. So that's going to be big. Velin Vitanov now is going to be looking for drive and everything, as Venceslav Raichanov has taken the lead of the race. So he's made the pass. I'm just looking to see where he's done that. It would have been up at Lake Coombe through the traffic. So well done, Venceslav. He's now got to try and keep himself out of trouble in this one, with Velin Vitanov hunting to try and get his first win. So too for Venceslav Raichanov, the two drivers who arguably should have wins over the course of this season because they have been that good as it's gone. You've also got Vrajilov then on the back, or has Neshev on the back, and that would be for 5th. And remember, that would be great damage limitation for Gabriel Ivanov at this point, or as Neshev would limit to Ivanov right now as we sit heading towards 40 minutes to go. Palauzov then down into the pits. Arnie Weiss and Joris Ohms also fighting. Let's not forget, Lyubomir Velkov here is looking at back-to-back victories. Sorry, no, I'll correct myself. It was Stemenkov who won last time out, but Velkov here is looking for what he can. It is currently Hristo Sarkazov who leads in the GT3 AM field, and I'm looking around the order at how far down the order some drivers are. Stanimir Borisov down in 39th place is going to lose a bucket of points here to his rivals as it stands. So that's huge. Neshev now in 6th, looking for 5th, trying to flash his way by the driver in front. Another negative delta driver in Chris Vrajilov, and still not able to get the understanding of, look, I can go through, I am better, I am quicker, I can get this move done, and I need to catch the 3 seconds it is to Gabriel Ivanov. And what a moment that will be out there on track. Hey, leaving room for Mavrodiev to jump through and gain statement and placement then as they run through. They are all stuck behind Orlin Malinov for the moment because Mavrodiev wants through, so does Stanislav Naidenov, and it gets busy around this part of the circuit right now. So everyone is hoping that they keep it together. The clearance is there, and because this circuit is more of a known quantity, I think we've seen more drivers take liberty around this circuit. That's why we've seen all the difference makers. Neshev is desperate for a way through. That's a car that's going to a stop then on the right-hand side. I didn't quite catch who it was. I think it was Nikolov there who was slowing to the right, and it was Alexander Nikolov Jr. who ends up towing the car and saying, yeah, my race is run out there at this point. But you look over to the likes of Stemenkov, slow, and allowing these drivers to go by. Neshev knows that every lap is going to be punishing here compared to Gabriel Ivanov. He's quicker than these drivers. He's a second a lap quicker than these drivers. He's so late on the brakes, and he has to get well out of it as he stands up on the brakes almost there in his seat to try and make sure he doesn't run in. Velin Vitanov eyeing up the race lead with half an hour to go in this race. Oh, he's very wide as he goes through. You can't be much wider if you're Velin. He just about gets away with it then, as he was hoping he wasn't going to run into the back of Venceslav Raichanov, who will now be eyeing up a chance to run away. Those final pit stops, I think, are going to be the biggest tellers of where this race is going to go up the hill. Surely Johan Neshev now has got the run on Chris Radulov that he's been clamoring for, and now here comes the chance inside line over at turn number 4. It is going to be Leikum where it's done. Johan Neshev now, time to hunt your biggest championship rival in Gabriel Ivanov. He still has championship lead in GT3 Pro at the moment, but Neshev, the fastest man on track, a mistake of his own doing that put him down that far in the race, and Gabriel will be suddenly seeing that this is a race for his taking and his understanding. Vitanov, look how deadly it is going through at Fania, just having to dice through GT3 and GT4 traffic there. There's Kevin Aby that is there just in front. Velin now is going to be looking at this, and so is Raichanov, who's just going to get the clearance there, and a lot of help from Ivo Serafimov. Vrajilov now with a slowdown penalty. Aby runs slightly wide, allows these drivers to go through, but Vitanov's going to get a run here, and he might even choose to make the move at Blanchimont. He's thought better of it here as he's lifted off the power, and he's starting to drive 266 in the speed trap for Raichanov compared to Vitanov, who's not able to hit the same top speeds by comparison. Koshev's the quickest in a straight line at 271 because you can trim out the Porsche better than any other car out there in the GT3 spec. But, and here's the big one, you're looking around at who can actually reach some very, very scary top speeds, and Hunor Horshi is one of them, and he's 2.6 seconds clear of the rest of the field. Mavrodiev then is there in 26th, and he's trying to run through the GT4s and gain up position. It will only help overall at the moment. A little flash from Amy to say, yep, thank you, thanks for going by. Velin Vitanov, though, needs a run, and especially considering we're about 5 minutes away from the second stops of this race for the majority of this field. Really tucked underneath that slipstream, not feeling comfortable enough to make that move here in that AMG Mercedes versus the likes of what's there in front. Big aggressive lines being taken. Koshev now, who is only 8 seconds clear now of Paniot Karpachev, has Chris Radulov in his sights. Don't do anything silly here, Rosti. We know you're third overall in the overall standings, and with Neshev just in front, with Ivanov just in front, you're not actually going to lose that much ground here in this championship, but he knows what he wants. He wants points, and he wants to try and hold that dominance in Pro-Am if he possibly can. So he's done everything correctly. Arnie Weiss is there with Joris Erms, but I doubt there's going to be much of a change between them at the moment. They've both got to try and figure out who's the faster driver, and can we stay with Paniot Karpachev, because Karpachev is G-O-N-E gone at this moment in time. So that's done everything and more, and there's a change. Raichanov has now lost the lead. He's around! Venti's around again! Oh my goodness! He's had a tag with Kamto Chikure then as he was going through the Fania chicane. Vitanov has been dodging bullets left and right, and Venceslav Raichanov now sees the lead go away. He got a hit in the side as he thought he had the clearance around the outside. I'll have to be honest there. I've got to kind of put it there on Kamto Chikure, who did not leave enough room for the passing leader to go around there, and he gives him a second hit. Oh, Venti. Venti. It's just not his season. It just really is not his season. And you can't see anything more about that, except it is just that sort of day. Another look. Staggering. Absolutely staggering. And there's another little dance at it. Velin Vitanov, look, he just scampers away with a smile as wide as the Cheshire Cat from Alice in Wonderland there. 8.5 seconds. The gap over Venceslav Rajchanov, and suddenly the race leaders changed. And I'll tell you something else to keep an eye out on as we watch Koshev versus Vrajilov. It's Neshev versus Ivanov here. The battle of the leaders in the championship is going to start to heat up, but Koshev has got all the pace in the world. Oh, he's not going to get there on Vrajilov. He'll have to go the long way. But if I was Koshev, I'm going to pinch, but there's just movement from Vrajilov. He's trying to be couch commander. Here as he goes through. Look at them. Pretty much neck and neck, trading chrome as they then try and go through. I'm sure I saw a little bit of light blue there on that number 3 Porsche as they left the corner, but Vrajilov, who is going to the nth degree to defend here because he knows how important the points are going to be, has again covered it. Ivilo Dimitrov hits pit lane for his final stop of the race. This is getting big as now Arnie Weiss still stalking the back of his own teammate there in Joris Ooms, knowing that 9th and 10th will do very good actually for them. Very good, nicely done as they go through and they clear the 114. Then as they pilot on around that, of course, being Norbert Hey then as Koshev still can't find exactly what the doctor is ordering here, which will be a chance of a move, a chance of a place, a chance of success. Weiss still on that outside, not going to be able to get a move done, working through the rights and the lefts of Fania. Some call it piff-paff as you go on through, but at least at this section, Arnie knows, top 10, it's pretty safe at the moment. Just don't do anything silly in the final 25 minutes here of this race. And you look around at so many drivers who have found themselves in that position of trouble. And Gabriel Ivanov, I would argue, is one driver wounded in a position of trouble. Johan Neshev has pulled the gap in. Ivilo Dimitrov now down in pit lane, making those stops. Expect Erms and Weiss to be the last takers in, but I want to go to Gabriel Ivanov and Johan Neshev, director, because that's about to get very hungry as there's a wiggle from Arnie Weiss. That means that he'll drop a couple tenths of a second out there overall. Up the hill, 2/10 of a second. Watch on the timing screen as Johan Neshev's about to close. There we get it. Johan Neshev wanting this move on Gabriel Ivanov, who's defensive on the inside. The 2 title contenders in GT3 Pro now going at it on bad days for the pair of them. It's defended by Gabriel Ivanov as he waltzes into the corner and says, no, not yet. Oh, but he's very wide as he goes through and tries to set up Malmedy through the middle. He just about gets away with that one. But no, Johan here has just got to exercise caution if he wants to get it through. He does have the option to elect to try and jump him in the final stop of the day. And then he'll be 3 seconds behind Leon Kiermaier for a shot of the podium here. Gabriel Ivanov watched in front. Lots of traffic in front. Struchka, they're going to have to clear around the outside. And that's going to compromise the run here for the pair of them through Double Gauche, heading over towards Fania. Mavrodiev and Naidanov are there in front as well. There's Rajchanov 8 seconds away, but the battle's behind him in 4th and 5th at the moment as Gabriel Ivanov is just calmly sensing that he can stay away here as Neshev tries for an angle there as they go into campus. Oh, and a wiggle off the exit. The mistake forced there by Johan Neshev, mark of a champion, to go and force a mistake out of your rival. Johan has come to race and he is driving angry straight through on Gabriel Ivanov. I do not like being bottled up. Replay then as Neshev catches the mistake, and now Gabriel Ivanov down into the pits, a little wide, going through campus, and then at Stavolo, straight down the inside. Thank you very much, Lee. I'll take that. Ivanov also follows Vladimir Mavrodiev down then into the pits as we are firmly in the final window of pit stops to happen. Gabriel now will be up on the jacks. He'll be looking for fuel. He'll be looking for tyres out there, and we are looking around. 22 seconds has been the typical stop length that we have seen. Exiting will be Martin Yankov, 19 seconds only on his stop. 18 for Ivanov, 18 and a half. So that's your benchmark. 18 and a half seconds in the lane is all you need to be looking for in terms of this final pit stop of this race, with Velin Vitanov in control of this field. Rusty Koshev, who is now down to a 3-second gap now to Paniot Karpachev, as Paniot has been absolutely flying through this field from 31st on the grid to try and get himself up. He's up 24 spots in this one as we go to Johan Neshev here, who is trying to clear every car under the sun at this point to try and get to Leon Kiermaier, who is there in third. So that's going to be what the eyes are hoping to see as we still wait for Hunor Horsey's last stop of the race as well in GT4. Hristo Sarkazov, who has been very quiet in the GT3 Anfield, he's driven a wonderful race out there today, has the driver in the 82. He is perfect out there. That's your full times that you've seen on pit lane at the moment. The likes of Naidanov and Dimitrov taking over a minute in their boxes, so to speak, representatively, as they have gone about their business. So, at least right now, it is calm at the moment. Stanchev with a slowdown penalty, but it's all calm at the moment on this front. Now you're just waiting for, is the fuel going to hit that low level when I need to come in and make those stops? Horsey won't react again, as Johan Neshev now will go by the GT4 leader in his Mercedes, Aston Martin, Ford, and then Porsche, your top five. Velin Vitanov there, your leader. Absolutely flawless. Has done nothing wrong today. And this is what he's needed. Just a day in which he can put 20 to 30 points on his main rivals. And he can do that with Neshev in fourth. He can do that with Ivanov net fifth here in this race. He can put the dents in that will put everybody else on notice heading to 2 weeks' time and Daytona, which will be a circuit that many drivers know well. I'm shocked to see Joris Unden early. He's going to make a call. I want to fast stop, get it out of the way now, and I'm going to give myself fresh air to go and work with. Look at that, in and out, quick as a flash, as he has now realised that this could be his race late to go and gain a couple places if he can eye up Karpachev, if he can eye up Koshev late here. That long run that he'll be hoping for is setting up now for what will be an excellent finish to this race, and it has all been about who has kept themselves out of trouble. You've now got Kevin Abe in a scrap with Alex Stefanov as the closest scrap out there on track, but there is Velin Vitanov at 8 seconds down the road, needing just one good stop to bring himself home and dry. And AB going out there right now in that battle of those who are yet to pit, but clearance from Vitanov then running through 8 seconds to the good on Venslav Rajchanov, and hoping to make sure it stays that way. Neshev, the gap down to 2.5 to Leon Kiermaier. There is Kevin Abe trying to work out whether he can get by Alex Stefanov now in the final stages of this race. We are ticking over with about 17 minutes remaining on the clock and trying to work out, is this going to be my move, yes or no? Tough day at the office for Kevin Abe, and it started right from the drop of the green flag as he ran himself wide and basically took a hit through the last horse hairpin. Nikolov and Serafimov down in, and Rachanov now hits pit lane. So Venti now making that call to go through, and he will need a more than a Venti Cup, he'll need a Grande Cup to go through. So Ventsislav Rachanov then is going to hit his marks. He'll go up on the jacks for fuel and probably not tyres actually at this stage of the race, and just go and get himself out and clear. He's looking around at the drivers with him as Dylan Stebler also hits the pits then from what was second at the time. Expect the likes of Martin Yankov to try and hunt back in and have a chance then of taking that second place back as Stebler hits his mark. Through goes Struchka. Radlin Ivanov will then go through, and then it will be Martin Yankov as Stanimir Borisov works his way through. Horsey with a slowdown penalty there, and that's going to just complicate things slightly for him out there at the moment. But where does Raichanov come out after 40 seconds of cumulative stop? He will be out, actually, just behind Paniot Karpachev. So he has done a brilliant stop again. You will need, quote-unquote, 8 seconds as AB is in. Hey is now into the pits as well, making their stops in final stages of this one. So they will travel down the lane. Karpachev at 6/10 to Rosty-Koshev. Paniot has been on an absolute path of overtaking bliss in this race, as Kevin Aby now will leave pit lane, get back up onto the noisy pedal and try and get his race away, and will manage to do so just behind Kamto Chikure, who I believe has jumped him then in the stop. Oh, it's close there from Paniot. He was getting a little bit, I would say, hungry for 5th place at the moment and getting by Koshev. He has driven an absolute blinder from 31st. In comes your leader, Velin Vitanov. When will Leon Kiermaier follow on in to the stop with Johan Neshev then looking to be the third one who jumps on in with that scenario? So Neshev stays or goes in. Kiermaier is going to stay out. So Leon Kiermaier will get a lap lead in this race. We focus on the GT3 Am battle, which both of the Pro-Am battle, as both of them hit the lane. Yankov, Stebler's got a penalty. Dylan Stebler's got a penalty. So Stebler, who'd come out ahead of Martin Yankov, has got a penalty he needs to serve. And the Maffei Day, well, at the moment, they look like the targets of Mafia rather than the ones who are out there calling the shots. So that really is going to hurt. Neshev will lead the pit and will now note that he needs to be on an absolute charge in the late stages. But what a shame for Dylan Stebler, who will now drop himself that time. Vrajolov out behind. Gabriel Ivanov is firmly out behind even Chris Vrajolov, so that's going to hurt. We now expect Arnie Weiss in to make a pit stop and Leon Kiermaier, so we'll see where they go. But it is getting busy now in pit lane as Stebler will take his drive-through penalty. It might have been for speeding on pit exit. Yankov now to 2nd position, and that will be a gap of about 7 then over Hunor Horsey, who I believe has just made his final stop and has come out and away again, as Daniel Struchka will be the last one to wait for. Hristo Sarkazov makes his last stop of the day as we focus on Radlen Ivanov in GT4 for the moment, but Hristo making that final stop and should re-inherit once all of the pit stop cycles out, as into the pits comes all in Malinov there behind, exactly where he needs to be. There's the yellow Hristo Sarkazov there just in front, leaving pit lane and doing a wonderful job. Still 8.4, the gap for Velin Vitanov then at the front. It is keep it on the island and it is safe and steady. All in Malinov then is going to be trundling down the lane. You can see the lights flashing, which indicates that the pit speed limiter is now on. And this is going to be where you rejoin the circuit and comes out in relatively very clean air. So that does that. In comes Kiermaier and Stanchev. So now Leon Kiermaier, after his lap at the front, will now come in and make that final stop of the day. A stop that should put him in the good graces of potentially a podium here. And that would be massive for Leon Kiermaier if he gets that. His target is Johan Neshev, who's already coming through the final corner. Vitanov has gone by. Raichanov is now about to go by. Will Johan Neshev, Kiermaier already on pit exit here and trying to get up to speed. Neshev is going to have work to do in order to get himself up on that podium, because Leon Kiermaier has got the gap. And critically, he's got his teammate behind who he can ask to defend for him in the form of Arnie Weiss. That gap is 1 second. So that's critical in the way this race is going to go. Arnie Weiss is going to have to play dummy if he's caught by the likes of Johan Neshev. Weiss is 0.8 of a second behind his own teammate. And so as the lights flash and you say, look, you got to go, it's Johan Eshev who sees 2 Mark Speed cars as the target in front. 2 Mark Speed Aston Martins, it has to be said, as the targets of those in front. And he and his Mustang is now going to run. Into the pits comes Lyubomir Velkov. This should hand the lead back to Hristo Sarkazov in GT3 AM, as Sarkazov right now is running through the final corners here, that final chicane, to get back up onto speed and work himself over towards turn number 1. Mikov down in pits at the moment. So too Alexander Nikolov. Lyubomir Velkov's there. But I am looking around and seeing that Velkov is going to lose out in the 90. So as he thinks about trying to get away here, Hristo Sarkazov has now got the lead of his category back. There's Ivo Serafimov there as Vice. Slow down for Vice. Oh, this is going to be interesting how this is served, as he's gone too aggressive through the Fanya chicane. Alexander Nikolov Sr., Gorilla Garage 91. Back steps out. Goodbye, all you wrote. Able to try and gather it back up right in front. Hey! Right in front of Joris Ohms. That's not going to be very helpful. Sorry, that might even be Roy Vervaker. I think that was right in front of Roy Vervaker. It was. So Roy, not very happy with that. Hayes out. Norbert Hayes is out. So that's going to be another car out in GT4. Hayes been caught up in a massive shunt. And so his day is written up as he has dove down into the pit. So he has had a smash up somewhere on the lap. Then that's going to put that to pay dirt as Arnie Weiss comes in for his last stop of the race and releases Johan Eshev to hunt down Leon Kiermaier in the final stages of this one. Gabriel Ivanov will be desperate to get back at Chris Vrajolov if he can, to fight for the championship, to limit the damage, as Weiss now takes his stop, as Mavrodiev trying to get by Struchka, who is still waiting to make that last stop of the race, we believe. So for Daniel Struchka, he has stretched this as far as he can. Finally, Struchka will allow his teammate Huno Horshi to take the race lead. And so as they will pilot about, it is now going to be about how good the final stops are for this field. Weiss re-inherits 10th place, just in front of Maxim Dimitrov, but Maxim's going to have a head of steam for that 10th place, and for 4th in category. Korshev's got the clearance now. Look at this, trying to get around the outside of Eau Rouge is never going to work, and so having to back off of that then goes the likes of Maxim Dimitrov to try and fight for this one. Another day, another chance, but now running out of time as we're under 8 minutes. There's the lunge, though, here at Lake Coombe. The cold tyres, they're going to bite Arnie Weiss hard, and Maxim Dimitrov will get the clearance sorted and will get the movement needed as they work on for their moves. That was brilliantly constructed as a pass, and now you're starting to worry here as Martin Yankov will easily let Yordanin Svetinov go through to regain that position. A critical one in overall for Yordanin and the points that he wants to be scoring, and Gabriel Ivanov desperate to limit the damage to 1 position to Johan Neshev here today, and to keep his hopes alive in GT3 Pro. He will now need this 1 pass. He knows also he will lose exactly the same amount of points in overall the way it stands if he can get by Chris Vrajolov here and get this pass sorted and maintain his margin up there right now. And Chris will be looking at this going, well, I'm 16th to 5th. I've had a wonder day, but doesn't matter if you've got a day that has been destined in the stars for great places gained. You know that you've got a driver behind who wants to get through, and he will do everything in his power, will Gabriel Ivanov, to try and find a way through, to get to 5th position, to keep hopes alive on what has been a tough day, knowing as well that Johan Neshev has got the gap down to 1.5 seconds. Now to Leon Kiermaier in the race for the podium. Look at the spark scraping off the floor of Gabriel Ivanov as he climbed up the hill. He is starting to get some scrape that is not going to be very helpful. Traffic's going to help a little bit then for those drivers as Roy Vervaker limps it around the circuit and tries to keep himself out of trouble. Dancing about then through the rights and lefts as they go through Leicumbe up to Malmedy and the highest corner on the track. Then to Bruxelles. It used to be called Rivage Corner as they now work back down here. Oh, Weiss is in the pits again. Arnie's in the pits again. What has gone on for Arnie Weiss to come down a second time and make his stop? That's going to really sting for him here as he's down in the pits again. He obviously didn't take enough fuel to go about, and that is troublesome. Look at the damaged car of Gabriel Ivanov hugging like a cuddly toy the rear of Chris Vrajilov right now. He needs this pass under the Bravo B sponsorship now, and he knows how critical it is because Neshev's at 0.8 of a second now to Leon Kiermaier. We got two battles, one for 4th and 5th, one for third and fourth, one for 5th and 6th. And it is all about the final 5 minutes of this race. And Velin Vitanov right now, who will say, 2 laps to go, gents. That's all. That's all you're going to get left after this. So now it's Ivanov who needs this move, is setting it up through Blanchimont. Now he's going to have to go the long way around the chicane to get it sorted. 3 bits of traffic and mirror to mirror. Gabriel Ivanov chucks it deep, commands the apex, tries to push wide. There, Chris Vrajilov. Now they're going to have to go either side of the 107 if they're not careful. Vrajilov's trying to hunt over Gabriel Ivanov to one side. Boxes him out. What a veteran move that is, and can't get the move at last source. This is torture now for Gabriel Ivanov. Now look at Johan Neshev, because he's going to get a run on Leon Kiermaier. Mustang power versus Aston Martin sleekness as they now work up to try and get themselves over to that next section. A feint to the inside, but Kiermaier's a little bit too far in front now with 4 minutes to go, and he is holding his nerve absolutely magnificently. Here is the German driver against Johan Neshev, who is leader of GT3 Pro, who is bearing his fangs down here against the number 4 Mark Speed driver, and not having any of it is Leon. And still Gabriel Ivanov can't quite manage to find his pass. He's getting bogged down and frustrated behind and wants a move as Yurnin Svetinov will now come down by the lane one more time for a pit stop then to get himself home and hosed. But for Johan Neshev, he knows how critical this podium will be. He knows that it's a statement mark, that he can fight and get this back, but he is stuck. He can't quite get there. Lights flashing like crazy for Chris Vrajilov as he knows the toughness of this race. That is Nikolov Sr. and Ivo Serafimov, who are both entitled to their respective battles. And down the inside, Ivanov, he's got the pick! He's got the pick! Straight down he goes! Brilliant stuff! Gabriel Ivanov with Serafimov as a pick! It's gonna get it done! And now Chris Vrajilov, what do you have left? Go up to Johan Neshev now. He's got to run on Leon Kiermaier, and he'll want that one full position as they go to the final chicane. Not there. 1 lap then is going to be on the books soon. No, or is it 2? It's 2. It's going to be 2 laps left. There's the pick as they cross the line. There will be 2 minutes, 40 seconds left. It is 2 laps to go. Gabriel Ivanov with the pick is going to get the move done. And down at turn 1, Kiermaier leaves the door open. They shove against each other off the exit. Brilliant stuff. But it is Kiermaier with the launch off the corner. And now it's going to be about who's the bravest up through Orus and Radion back into line. Then from Johan Neshev. And can you go and scramble this one back up the Kemmel straight? Kiermaier is going to have to go defensive here. He runs middle of the road as he now starts to think about where do you want to go. That Aston Martin is trimmed on this straight, and Neshev knows it. He wanted to look at the inside there at Leicumbe, but he just doesn't have enough in that Mustang. All those horsepower, not enough. All in Malinov, black flag now. That's going to hurt him in his race because he was near Ivo Serafimov, Alexander Nikolov, and Dimitar Dimitrov and co. There's Radlin Ivanov. He's looking at Kamto Chikure late. Stebler has caught the back of Daniel Struchka here in GT4. That's going to be on then for racing action as they go. Karpachev in trouble after what was such a great day. He's pointed the wrong direction up at Eau Rouge and in the back. barriers and surely out here of this one as he waits for a chance to turn around. Oh, Paniot, what a day it could have been. Neshev trying to use the pick now to see if he can get through. Kiermaier's wise to it. He's not going to see that one through in that sort of sense. But Vrajilov is there. Karpachev out of the race. Oh, what a shame. What a real shame. It promotes... Oh, mistake! That's a mistake by Leon Kiermaier. Can it be pounced upon now by Johan Neshev? He looks for a lane here, and he's going to have to maybe even go on the grass. He goes on the grass. 2 tyres on the grass, giving himself the angle to go and get this move. Can he go around the outside of Blanchimont? Only the bravest of the brave try this, and Johan Neshev is one of them. He's got the inside at the final corner, and guess what? Kiermaier's better on the brakes. They now fight on these off-camber sections to get through, and he had to leave the room, Johan, and now he gets the drive, now he gets the move, now he gets the podium with 1 lap to go here at Spa. Oh, gracious me. Johan is showing that he is made of grit and determination in the final stages of this race. Leon Kiermaier has thrown everything he can at it. Struchka is off the podium because Dylan Stebler has got the move done and has now moved himself up and got himself exactly what he needs out of it, which is P3 after the penalty that he picked up then around here. So that's going to be huge. But Leon Kiermaier, I think that gap's a bit too far now as Neshev will get the clearance of traffic then as he will work into the corner and get by Radlan Ivanov, who gets well off of it as he goes through. All eyes of Chikure are going to be gone, and a second for Gabriel Ivanov behind, who realizes now that Chris Vrajilov can't catch him at this moment in the race. Down through Bruxelles, that's not going to be enough to get that close enough on a day of hard-fought racing out there. A replay round the outside of Blanchimont. Only the bravest dare try it, and Johan Neshev absolutely bossed it there with that move. It was brilliantly done, and so now you are starting to wonder whether Johan Neshev is title material, because after what he's just tried there, I think he is. I really think he is title material out there with the way that he is driving. But as we take one final look, round the outside, he has to leave enough room on the inside. He uses all of the road and maybe a little bit more, and he tries to get that clearance as they go. There's contact in front of Velin Vitanov, where Struchka and Stebler muscle each other for the fight for the podium. Their race is going to... No, it's not going to be run. That's going to be really clever there by Velin Vitanov. He doesn't have to fight this battle, but I tell you what, they do, because they don't have fuel. They need Vitanov to go through. Velin Vitanov is going to get the job done. A must-win race for him that he takes. It's going to be Raichanov in second and mark Johan Neshev down as a driver who will fight for that title any which way it comes. What a day at the office. Damage limitation for Gabriel Ivanov. He was backwards on the opening lap, in the wall over at Maradion on the opening lap, and he's 5th. What a recovery by Gabriel Ivanov, as Daniel Struchka then will just about lose out to Dylan Stebler, as both of them were out of fuel coming to the line. We note that Rosti Koshev has got another GT3 Pro-Am win. We wait for Hristo Sarkazov, who is 10th, mind you, a gain of 22 places. Joris Erms, who's going to come across the line second in class. Maxim Dimitrov third. A day where you are 22 places up. Hristo Sarkazov is going to have a wonderful day, and he is going to become a driver of great import for many in this series. There is Valentin Stemenkov, who will be a lap down here in this race, but critically is still going to pick up some good points there in 5th, as we now need to... Hey, there goes the 44 coming over the line. That is Mavrodiev. Then that will get the spin and back onto the power. Behind that, Hristo Sarkazov then coming to the line. There's Christian Novev, and he will be a very sordid figure heading over to the line. Not happy with the day that he wanted. We've also got GT4 to talk about as well, as this is Jordan Svetanov running through and trying to give himself as much progress. Hunor Horshi is going to get 4 straight wins here in the SimGear GT Masters. The new master of GT4 making his way over towards the line. He's one of the last drivers there. And look at that. He will have Martin. Oh, he's close. He's close on fuel. Martin Yankov is closing in at a rate of knots here. This could be close. Martin Yankov needs to catch. It's a short run to the line. Does Horshi have anything on the power? He does. He does. He just staves off Hunor Horshi with a late scare from Martin Yankov. He got close, but not close enough. And that is a big late scare from Hunor Horshi as they looked at numbers heading over towards the line. Let's get confirmation of result then. Up on your screen, Velin Vitanov on a must-win day gets it done. He wins in a wonderful time of 1 hour, 11 minutes and 58 seconds. And he will win by 2.3 as he slowed down to let those GTs try and find the finish at the line and didn't quite do so. Venslav Raichanov will finish second and Johan Neshev then in third. It will be Leon Kiermaier who will be 4th position out there as Gabriel Ivanov will find 5th and only just mitigate some damage. Chris Vrajilov ends up in 6th with Rosti Koshev, your winner in the Pro-Ams, in 7th. Joris Erms, his nearest rival, directly behind him in 8th with Maxim Dimitrov 9th. Your winner in AM, in 10th place, Hristo Sarkazov. What a drive from the Spark driver after contact before the start of this race even happened. Arnie Weiss would be in 11th ahead of Lyubomir Velkov with Nikolai Mikov and Milen Milchev 13th and 14th. Paniot Karpachev in the barriers late for off-track racing. That will really hurt with Roy Viveka 16th and Ivilo Dimitrov there 17th, third in class, as Stanislav Naidenov would be in 4th. We will then look over back as you've got the top 20 rounded out by Valentin Stamenkov and Vladimir Mavrodiev. Hunor Horshi winning it for the 4th time, but this time with a scare from Martin Yankov, who very nearly stole a march on him at the final stages. Jordan Svetanov a lap down as Dylan Stebler would outthink Daniel Struchka for that podium place while they were both desperate to try and not go the extra lap. Kamto Chikure would be 5th ahead of Radlan Ivanov and Alex Stefanov there in 28th place, as Kevin Aby would be 29th overall and Ivo Serafimov would round out the top 30 at 3 laps down. Alexander Nikolov Sr. also joins that mix with Orlin Malinov and Krastin Stanchev, as Dimitar Dimitrov would be 4 laps down in this one, as well as Lazar Katsarski and Stanimir Borisov. Now we firmly hit the retirees. Norbert Hey, Dimitar Palauzov, Ruban Skelton in that one. Christian Novev having a really tough day at the office. Alexander Nikolov Sr., Jr. even, retiring the car with Ivan Boromechkov caught out early. So to Ture Molarin on the opening lap of Vilo Boychev, and then Łukasz Sipowa disqualified with a non-start for Nicholas Nikos. So, this will take us to the SimGear GT Masters press conference now, where all of our drivers here who have found a top 3 have a chance to chat, and we will start with Velin Vitanov, your winner here today. Velin, to say that this season, as far as it started, was one that hasn't been going quite the way that you've wanted it to, but today, how important was this one for you to right the ship?
Yeah, it was very important for me to win today, to get match points and come back in the overall championship. I'm very happy with this result. Only I'm a little bit disappointed from that my teammate Johan Neshev spin, and we don't have a good fight in the end of the race.
Well, talk us through those 2 moments which decided that race for you, because one, you have your teammate spin on cold tyres coming out of the pits, which is, you know, something you don't often get to see. And secondly, what happened with the lap traffic there for Venslav Raichanov, because those 2 mistakes, you're just in the right place at the right time to avoid both of them.
Yeah, very unlucky for Venslav Raichanov. The GT3 driver crashed into him. I was very lucky in both situations to avoid the incident. And after the incident with Venslav Raichanov, I drive really safe to bring the win.
A critical win. It will bring you back in the championships, both championships, it has to be said, of pro and also overall. Now, Daytona, 2 weeks' time. We've seen a lot of Daytona today with the likes of the 24-hour that's gone on. But for you, now with renewed confidence, do you think you can tackle Daytona and start really sending a message to the drivers around you?
Yeah, I think I have a good pace on Daytona. On Daytona, it's very important to stay in the slipstream and try to save how as much possible fuel. It will be very interesting. Mercedes is not the best car, but I think it will be fun. We will see.
Velin Vitanov there joining us. A first win of the season for the number 7 and a critical win for Negative Delta by iLiveries that continues to extend their margin at the top of the team's championship. Venslav Rajchanov finished second overall and in GT3 Pro. Venti, at least you're on the podium. I think that's the positive takeaway that you take from this one, and what has been a torrid season for you, one full of just issues out there. You almost had that shot of victory today, if not for the tangle that you had with Kamto Chikure.
Yeah, I'm happy for the result, but I'm a little bit disappointed because in the last 2-3 races, every time the race is decided by GT4 drivers, they just don't respect blue flags. They don't respect anything. From that part, I'm disappointed. From the race itself, I'm extremely happy to be here, and that podium is very good for me.
Well, it's massive for you, especially when you're considering just how much of a day everyone had. Let's go right back to the start of the race, because you get 3 corners in, you start braking at Lake Coombe, and all of a sudden you realize there's only 4 cars with you and everyone else is in a crash heap behind you.
Yeah, I saw the melee behind, but I didn't understand what exactly happened because I was focused to stay with the guys in front to keep the slipstream. So I saw suddenly the gap increased and nobody behind, but I know how it is. It's racing, so things happens very fast.
It definitely does, but for you, are you just now in a stage hunt mode going to Daytona and Interlagos for the final 2 rounds?
Yeah, I'm positive for Daytona. I really don't know how is the pace of the car on Daytona. It's something we will figure out, and Interlagos is a track that I don't really like, so I don't expect massive pace there, but we see.
Venslav Rajchanov then joining us in second position overall. A marauding recovery then from Johan Neshev, who would finish off in third place in GT3 Pro. Johan, I think you look at what happens on the start. You see your main rival in the championship in the wall. And then it looks like you are absolutely right there for the taking. Both championships you're going to lead. And then ultimately, as you set back after that first pit stop, what happens there with you on cold tires and that spin? It completely set your race back.
That was the problem. After the first lap, I thought I'm gonna win. Like this will be a very good race for me. Gabriel, I did not know he hit the wall, but I saw he dropped down a lot of positions, and I was confident I was gonna win or at least get P2 because we were pushing with my teammate. And yeah, I don't know, made a stupid mistake, didn't pay attention to the cold tires, and yeah, this is definitely a mistake I'm not gonna do again.
It brought the gap down. You had to take a little look at where you were in the order, an extra drive down the lane, and ultimately you're only 7 seconds off the victory, all things said and told. So it was a great chance for you to fight, but talk us through that, second to last lap battle with Leon Kiermaier around the outside of Blanchimont. Not many drivers try that.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if he was gonna lift. I lifted around 50%, and I was sure we were gonna die. Somehow we didn't. I'm so glad the move was done. And yeah, it was very scary. I don't know how we were alive.
Now, you came into today with the GT3 Pro standings lead, not the overall. You do close down some gap in overall, but critically, it's still Gabriel Ivanov who will lead heading to Daytona. You know, even though today you have that spin, you have that moment, do you still believe form is on your side heading over to America?
I'm not quite sure about the pace in Daytona. The Mustang is not good there, but yeah, it's not all about the pace. You know, some races you can lose and win by the traffic or a crash, and yeah, we'll just pray for some luck and whatever happens, happens. Like,
Well, with 2 rounds to go in the championship, Johan Neshev is making a claim for 2 titles as he gets the result of 3rd here today from the circuit to Spa-Francorchamps. We'll jump into Pro-Am now, where Rosti Koshev has picked up a win here in category. Rosti, you actually walked into today 3rd in the championship in overall, and with the way that it has played out for you, it's another great chance for you to say you are still scoring some fantastic points. You are able to hold Joris Ohms off by a little bit more, but your day was pretty much written as everyone around you was trying to hunt you down, especially late on there by Paniot Karpachev. Just talk us through your race.
Oh yeah, I got extremely lucky the first lap. I managed to dodge all the accident, so it was very good on that part. Then I had great fights with Chris. I should have saved fuel and just kept behind him, but I wanted to race. I wanted to settle it on track. And that cost me my front tires. At the end of the race, I was struggling on tires, and Panayot was just catching up. So unfortunately, he had an accident, I think, at the end, but it was good for me.
When you have an incident like that going through the opening corner, are you one of those drivers who looks around at it and thinks maybe there should be a mitigation of a big wreck safety car that should be thrown out for drivers in case of, you know, an incident that's involving 5 or more cars?
Well, yeah, I think safety car will be good. Just on these 6 accidents, you have to pay attention of what's going on and slow down. That's the most important thing during the actual accident to avoid it, because it's much better to avoid it than to crash, obviously.
It very much is, but for you, you're slowly building the blocks together of a Pro-Am season that's going absolutely the way you want it to. It's Daytona in a couple weeks' time, and that Porsche is very, very good at being trimmed out. Have you got the right car for the job?
I sure hope so.
It's as simple as that. Rosti Koshev picking up the win in GT3 Pro-Am. Just behind him was Joris Ohms, 2nd position overall. And Joris... it's second, but it's 18 seconds behind in second. You've noted on a number of occasions that BMW isn't able to pick up as much speed for you in that Mark Speed Red racing car. But for you today, 9th or 8th place at home, a game of 6. Are you happy with that result? Is it as much as you were expecting from it today?
Well, I think it's the maximum I could have gotten out of the car. So I also made a few mistakes, so that's on me. But if I looked at the clean laps, yeah, they weren't fast enough with this car. So I think this result is the maximum I could get. Yeah, and the Rusty space was excellent. So really kudos to him.
So in terms of now looking at what you're dealing with, it's a small chip in terms of GT3 Pro-Am. You're still up there in second. You're still keeping this one honest. But what do you think needs to happen to change the tide in your favor, especially when you consider today was a crazy race with a lot of incident around the field? Do you just feel like you got, you know, you just didn't quite get the luck you needed today?
No, not really. It's as I said, it's the maximum I could achieve, and the only way to win the championship is to keep doing what we do, achieve the maximum result possible, and be consistent. And that being consistent, that's the key for me. So as long as we can do that, we will get the place that we deserve.
And what do you think about Daytona then as an opportunity for you in 2 weeks to go and get that consistency value and continue to score those points? Because that chicane, as you go through the new Le Mans chicane, is going to be absolutely scary for every driver in the field.
It will be for sure. And we've done Daytona 24 with the team. We also learned it's good in the Aston. It's it's hard, but okay, it's doable in the BMW. But yeah, you just need to be consistent again, and I don't know what's going to happen with all the other cars on the track. So we will see. We will see.
Well, a great result today for Joris Ohm, second in class in 8th position overall, and Maxim Dimitrov will end up with 3rd position overall in class, right at the 11th hour of the race. Maxim, you don't often get to see that, where cars in and around you are just about going to be able to try and stave it off, but a late instant there for Paniot Karpachev gives you the chance to jump on the podium.
Yeah, I got a freebie because of my teammate, Paniot Span, had an incident at Radilon, and I picked up the pieces and got P3.
A wonderful P3 for you in the end, and a little bit of a lonely one there towards the end of the race. It looked like you just had to hot lap by the time you got out of the first starts, but we were just taking a look there. It looks like you may have had a hit through the opening couple of laps of the race there to the rear of the car. Just how difficult is it to survive a lap one incident like that when there is cars and smoke everywhere across the circuit at a very tight section of road just after Radion?
Yeah, well, lap one was quite a hard one for me. Lots of incidents around me. Survived it. Then in Blanchimont, there was almost 4 wide where I've picked up the damage from the back. Car was very oversteered throughout the race, but it also had some pace because of it.
And so now for you, just looking around at this result, you're starting to put it together. What do you think it's going to take for you to get a victory in the championship? And do you think that Daytona is a place where it's achievable for you?
Yeah, unfortunately, I needed to skip previous one, and it puts me out of contention for first places. Maybe still I can score bronze, 3rd place. Daytona, see, Porsche seems to be good there. Not my favorite track, but Porsche has a pace.
Well, we'll wish you the best of luck with it. Maxim Dimitrov then joining us then from 3rd position overall in GT3 Pro-Am. We're going to talk with our one and only AM driver. A massive victory today for Hristo Sarkazov. 32nd position all the way up to P10. Hristo, well, first and foremost, there was contact for you before you'd even turned a corner in anger out there in the Sparks 82. So for you, a first lap where you're just looking at carnage pretty much everywhere here at Spa.
Costava.
Yeah, it was really interesting first lap for me. To be honest, I didn't qualify. I had a penalty, and I
Qual costumava?
thought this will be the end of my race. But I managed to pick the pieces up from the incident in Eau Rouge and had a really good race, to be honest. I'm really happy with the result.
Do apologise there if you'd heard the dulcet tones of Valentin Stamenkov going through. But Hristo, really for you, it's been a case of a GT3 AM season that, if we're quite honest about the way it's gone, there's been no one true form setter as you've gone through the season. So the way that your season's gone, you came into this one 11th in the championship on 92 points, and this one's just going to really prop you up a bit, isn't it?
Yeah, I think I don't really have chance for the win of the championship. I'm not sure if I have a chance for top 3. I don't know, I'm gonna check the standings after the interview. But it is pretty good for me, the first season of SIMGEAR GT Masters, a win. I'm happy.
And so in your first season, you've already got a win in your back pocket in AM. How do you look at this series then in terms of what you're looking for it? Are you looking at developing through the system, getting up to Pro-Am, getting up to Pro? Are you thinking about this as how you build and develop the skills that you need to get up there? Because it's clear that there's some pace there with the way that you drove today.
Yeah, of course. I want to improve, and this is the best place for me to improve. I'm racing amongst the really good drivers, 4, 5, 6K iRating, and not only that, they have really good pace. And I'm just here, happy to be here and learning from them and from this whole championship.
Happy to be on the top step of the podium. Hristo Sarkazov getting it done, 10th place. from starting 32nd on the grid. We will move to GT4, where Hunor Horshi is now on 4 straight victories here after that result. And, you know, you leave a lot of gap when it comes to GT4 compared to GT3s. How much, Hunor, on the opening lap did you see exactly of what happened in front of you?
Not at all. I didn't see anything. Thankfully, I left a big enough gap because I was anticipating what was about to go down, most likely, going through a rules for GT3s. I only watched it back when I quickly scrolled through the start of the race. So I just seen it for the first time now. But yeah, giving a big gap is very important, especially when the GT3 field are so numerous. Like there are very many drivers there, double the number of GT4s. It's important to make sure no GT3 that gets involved in an incident is then reincorporated back into the GT4 field, because that's very dangerous. So leaving a big gap is very important.
You had to fight again in the mid part of the race. Martin once again got the jump on you in the stop, and so having to make that pass and make it cleanly was critical in terms of the way you needed that race to pan out for you.
Definitely, I had to get past him very quickly because my strategy for this race was the same as at Bathurst. I wanted to push as much as I can, not worry about the tires at all. More reason he got out in front of me because I had to change tires, obviously, because I used them so much more than everyone else around me. So making that pass was definitely critical.
And so now as you move further into the championship lead in GT4, you've got 2 weeks to think about Daytona and what that's going to bring for you. How are you looking to try and keep this momentum going at a circuit that at the best of times is a draft fest track, and at the worst of times you're looking around and everyone's thinking that they've got a chance of something there?
Yeah, I'm happy you said that it's a draft fest. It's one of my least favorite tracks alongside Spa and Le Mans. It's actually the big sim racing triumvirate of overrated circuits. It's probably a controversial opinion of mine, but I don't find Spa, Le Mans, and Daytona very interesting tracks to race at. So not a fan of it at all. And it will be especially very difficult considering how slow the Aston is compared to the Porsches and the Mercedes. So yeah, we will see. It will be a very hard race, definitely one where I don't expect myself to get the win.
Well, it's a disinterested but yet very successful win from Hunor Horshi today, who got the job done. Martin Yankov then was second overall, gave it a really strong go about it. Martin, you know, that was closer than it's been in previous weeks, but again, you're still a little bit behind the 8 ball by comparison. You are throwing everything you can at it. It's clear to see that it is starting to get a bit closer in race pace, but, you know, what can you do against a 5K driver like Hunor, who is absolutely bossing it every week?
Yeah, for sure, I'm doing everything I can, but he's just too fast, man. I mean, even if I'm able to catch a little bit, it's because he made a mistake and not in pure race pace. That's it.
Now, there's a bit of discussion from Venceslav Raichanov. I know you've been privy to the conversation that he's not very happy with the way that GT4 and GT3 traffic are playing ball from the GT3 side. But from you in a GT4 car, having a little bit less power, having to try and understand where the car needs to go, how are you finding traffic from the GT3s and how they go by? And what do you think the solution would be to the problem that's being seen?
Actually, I don't know what is the problem, what's the discussion about, but most of the GT3s are, for me, not overtaking us as clear as I would want. I think they would be even faster if they wait for us in the apex and then get on the inside, but only few guys do this. And I think that they can do a really better job overtaking. And I think that it's their responsibility to overtake safe and clean, and we have to be on the racing line, and we have to be predictable. So actually it's pretty simple, but GT3s have to pay a lot of attention.
And so for you, Daytona now proves to be the next port of call. Now, we just heard that Huno's not too confident because the Aston Martin isn't going to be that great in a straight line. That BMW also maybe a little bit down on power compared to certain others. So do you feel like it's even playing field, or do you feel like you've got a slight advantage now coming back into Daytona and trying to wrest back some championship points?
Well, you can never have advantage over Hunor and even Daniel. So I don't know if the BMW is going to be quick there, but we'll see. Maybe we'll have even better luck this time.
Well, let's hope for the reigning champion of GT4, the 101 of Martin Yankov there. Second place overall. Still another really strong finish. Dylan Stebler would find himself for Matthew Racing as the last car on to the podium. And Dylan, that last lap was very interesting from a technical standpoint for you in that Porsche, because I think both you and Daniel didn't want to take another lap, and it was just about who was going to be more daring with Velin Vitanov.
Yeah, no, exactly. We both, or I'm assuming, I'm not 100% sure, I'm assuming we both had the same issue with fuel. I mean, we calculated that that Velin would overtake us far before the final lap. Turns out we didn't have enough fuel, so I was panicked. Then I saw like 20 seconds behind, or it was not 20 seconds, 8 seconds behind was Velin, and me and Daniel both decided we have to lift off, try to let him overtake us in the final corner. But at the same time, we both wanted to be on the podium. So I think you might have seen it. We almost spun each other at the end, trying to stay in front, and Velin was very careful overtaking us. But at the end, yeah, I'm P3, so I'm happy with that.
Talk us through the opening laps, because your teammate ended up on the wrong side of it. A couple cars found themselves pointed backwards at La Source, and I think quite quickly this became a race of attrition more rather than, I would say, a straight-up duel for drivers.
Yeah, no, turn one was chaotic, as it always is in Spa. I got pretty lucky, I'd say. I was fighting with Martin more or less the whole race, not directly on track, but more in strategy-wise, just pace-wise. It was gonna be really interesting in the final stint. I came out right in front of him. Unfortunately, I did get a penalty for the pit exit, so that dropped me about 15 seconds behind him, and that made it interesting with Daniel. But yeah, I think it was more or less a race of survival. Kamto also got hit by a GT3, which is unfortunate. Yeah.
Not much more to be said there, but the way that Maffey's going about business and how the team's looking to put itself together, what do you think the difference maker is going to be when you get to Daytona? Because it's clear there is pace there. This GT4 field is a lot quicker than what it was last season. So what are you looking at in GT4 to get to that next level, especially when you're in a very lightning fast Porsche Cayman Clubman?
Well, the Porsche's quick, but I think the difficulty is going to be in Daytona, the straight line speed, and that's something that the Porsche is really lacking. When I was testing with Kevin and Kamto in practice, I could tell, like, just on the exits, I had no chance. It was really difficult to overtake. So yeah, if it comes down to straight line speed, it's going to be a difficult one, I think, for the Mercedes and even more the Porsche. But yeah, I think we have a good shot. We're going to give it our all. Let's see.
Well, we wish you the best of luck in 2 weeks' time. Dylan Stebler there from Maffey Racing, joining us there, the Swiss-based driver, with a really good result. That will close things out then for the SimGear GT Masters press conference. What a wonderful day's worth of racing we've had. A crazy race, some would say. Opportunity needing to be pounced on at the right place at the right time. Many a driver seeing that this was a day they would rather forget after a long old 24 hours earlier on at Daytona. But now you can breathe. Now you got a chance to assess where you are in the championship with 2 rounds to go. Next time out, 2 weeks' time, we are back at Daytona, but it's moving day in the championship. Either you move to an unassailable position or you move to a place where victory is all the more sweeter. We'll see you in 2 weeks for racing action for round 6 of the SimGear GT Masters.